Question 1. Who was the wife of Isaac? A. Rachel. B. Leah. C. Rebekah. D. Sarah. The right answer is letter C, Rebekah. Rebekah was the wife of Isaac as described in Genesis chapter 24. She was chosen by Abraham's servant to be Isaac's wife because of her kindness and hospitality. Question 2. Which Old Testament figure interpreted King Nebuchadnezzar's dreams? A. Daniel. B. Joseph. C. Ezekiel. D. Elijah. The right answer is letter A, Daniel. Daniel interpreted King Nebuchadnezzar's dreams, as described in Daniel chapter 2 and chapter 4. His interpretations revealed God's messages and prophecies. Question 3. Who was the mother of Ishmael? A. Sarah. B. Hagar. C. Leah. D. Zipporah. The right answer is letter B, Hagar. Hagar was the mother of Ishmael, as described in Genesis chapter 16. She was Sarah's Egyptian maidservant who bore Abraham's first son. Question 4. Who was the prophet that confronted King David with the parable of the rich man and the poor man? A. Elijah. B. Elisha. C. Nathan. D. Samuel. The right answer is letter C, Nathan. Nathan was the prophet who confronted King David with the parable of the rich man and the poor man as described in 2 Samuel chapter 12, verses 1 to 7. This confrontation led David to repent of his sins with Bathsheba. Question 5. Who was the sister of Moses and Aaron? A. Deborah. B. Miriam. C. Hannah. D. Esther. The right answer is letter B, Miriam. Miriam was the sister of Moses and Aaron, as described in Exodus chapter 15, verse 20. She played a significant role during the Exodus and led the women of Israel in worship. Question 6. Who built the ark to survive the great flood? A. Moses. B. Abraham. C. Noah. D. Adam. The right answer is letter C, Noah. Noah built the ark to survive the great flood as described in Genesis chapters 6 to 9. He followed God's instructions and saved his family and many animals from the flood. Question 7. Which Old Testament book tells the story of Samson? A. 1 Kings. B. Judges. C. 2 Samuel. D. Ruth. The right answer is letter B, Judges. The story of Samson is told in the book of Judges, chapters 13 to 16. Samson was a judge of Israel known for his incredible strength, which was derived from his uncut hair as part of a Nazirite vow. Question 8. Who was the father of King Solomon? A. Saul. B. David. C. Samuel. D. Jesse. The right answer is letter B, David. King Solomon's father was David, as described in 2 Samuel chapter 12, verse 24. David was the second king of Israel, and Solomon's mother was Bathsheba. Question 9. Which prophet challenged the prophets of Baal on Mount Carmel? A. Isaiah. B. Jeremiah. C. Elijah. D. Daniel. The right answer is letter C, Elijah. Elijah challenged the prophets of Baal on Mount Carmel, as described in 1 Kings chapter 18, verses 19 to 40. He demonstrated the power of the true God by calling down fire from heaven. Question 10. What did Jacob dream about at Bethel? A. A burning bush. B. A ladder reaching to heaven. C. A great flood. D. A golden calf. The right answer is letter B, a ladder reaching to heaven. Jacob dreamed about a ladder reaching to heaven at Bethel, as described in Genesis chapter 28, verses 10 to 19. In his dream, angels ascended and descended the ladder, and God renewed his covenant with Jacob. Question 11. Which prophet was swallowed by a great fish? A. Jonah. B. Hosea. C. Amos. D. Micah. The right answer is letter A, Jonah. Jonah was swallowed by a great fish, as described in Jonah chapter 1, verse 17. He was in the belly of the fish for 3 days and 3 nights before being vomited out onto dry land. Question 12. Who was the firstborn son of Jacob? A. Judah. B. Reuben. C. Joseph. D. Benjamin. The right answer is letter B, Reuben. Reuben was the firstborn son of Jacob, as described in Genesis chapter 29, verse 32. He was the eldest of Jacob's 12 sons and belonged to Leah. Question 13. Which Old Testament book contains the story of the fall of Jericho? A. Exodus. B. Joshua. C. Judges. D. Numbers. The right answer is letter B, Joshua. The story of the fall of Jericho is found in the book of Joshua, chapter 6. Joshua led the Israelites in marching around the city for 7 days before the walls fell. Question 14. Who interpreted Pharaoh's dreams in Egypt? A. Daniel. B. Moses. C. Joseph. D. Aaron. The right answer is letter C, Joseph. Joseph interpreted Pharaoh's dreams in Egypt as described in Genesis chapter 41. His interpretations led to his rise to power as the second in command in Egypt. Question 15. Who was the mother of Samuel the prophet? A. Sarah. B. Rebekah. C. Hannah. D. Rachel. The right answer is letter C, Hannah. Hannah was the mother of Samuel the prophet as described in 1 Samuel chapter 1. She prayed fervently for a son and dedicated Samuel to God's service. Question 16. Which prophet had a vision of a wheel within a wheel? A. Isaiah. B. Jeremiah. C. Ezekiel. D. Daniel. The right answer is letter C, Ezekiel. Ezekiel had a vision of a wheel within a wheel as described in Ezekiel chapter 1, verses 15 to 21. This vision symbolized God's omnipresence and divine power. Question 17. Who was the wife of Boaz and great-grandmother of King David? A. Esther. B. Ruth. C. Naomi. D. Deborah. The right answer is letter B, Ruth. Ruth was the wife of Boaz and great-grandmother of King David, as described in the book of Ruth. Her story is one of loyalty, faith, and God's providence. Question 18. Who built the first temple in Jerusalem? A. David. B. Solomon. C. Saul. D. Rehoboam. The right answer is letter B, Solomon. Solomon built the first temple in Jerusalem as described in 1 Kings chapter 6. The temple was constructed as a permanent place for God's presence to dwell among the Israelites. Question 19. Who was the prophet that saw a vision of dry bones coming to life? A. Isaiah. B. Jeremiah. C. Ezekiel. D. Amos. The right answer is letter C, Ezekiel. Ezekiel saw a vision of dry bones coming to life, as described in Ezekiel chapter 37, verses 1 to 14. This vision symbolized the restoration of Israel. Question 20. Who was the father of King Saul, the first king of Israel? A. Jesse. B. Kish. C. Eli. D. Gideon. The right answer is letter B. Kish. Kish was the father of King Saul, the first king of Israel, as described in 1 Samuel chapter 9, verse 1. Saul was anointed by the prophet Samuel. Question 21. Which Old Testament book is a collection of wise sayings and teachings attributed to Solomon? A. Ecclesiastes. B. Proverbs. C. Psalms. D. Song of Solomon. The right answer is letter B. Proverbs. The book of Proverbs is a collection of wise sayings and teachings attributed to Solomon. It contains practical advice for living a righteous life. Question 22. Who was thrown into a fiery furnace but was unharmed? A. Daniel. B. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. C. Ezekiel. D. Elijah. The right answer is letter B. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were thrown into a fiery furnace but were unharmed, as described in Daniel chapter 3. Their faith in God protected them from the flames. Question 23. Who was the prophet that challenged the prophets of Baal on Mount Carmel? A. Isaiah. B. Jeremiah. C. Elijah. D. Daniel. The right answer is letter C. Elijah. Elijah challenged the prophets of Baal on Mount Carmel, as described in 1 Kings chapter 18, verses 19 to 40. He demonstrated the power of the true God by calling down fire from heaven. Question 24. Who was the king of Babylon who saw the writing on the wall during a feast? A. Nebuchadnezzar. B. Belshazzar. C. Cyrus. D. Darius. The right answer is letter B. Belshazzar. Belshazzar was the king of Babylon who saw the writing on the wall during a feast, as described in Daniel chapter 5. The writing foretold the fall of his kingdom. Question 25. Who led the rebuilding of the walls of Jerusalem after the Babylonian exile? A. Ezra. B. Nehemiah. C. Zerubbabel. D. Joshua. The right answer is letter B. Nehemiah. Nehemiah led the rebuilding of the walls of Jerusalem after the Babylonian exile, as described in the book of Nehemiah. His leadership and faith helped restore the city and the community. Thank you for participating in our quiz on the Old Testament. How did you do? Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and comment your score below. We appreciate your support and look forward to seeing you in our next video.